Hello everyone, I'm your host from Research Update Organization and you are watching the video series of clinical research education. You can join our Facebook group and you can subscribe our YouTube channel for the latest update. Also you can join our Telegram app which is Q&A Research Interest Group. We will start our session soon. Last time we covered introduction and type of the research, where we have seen some of the example of the types like original research, observational studies, interventional studies, and review studies. You can see here all those things, and more detail regarding to this studies is in our previous video. So if you miss that session, you can go back and watch that session too. um, Quickly revision, we will have certain type of original studies, and those original studies will be uh, observational studies. Number one, that is full length of observational study, or which is retrospective and prospective studies. Besides that, we are having meta-analysis and meta-regression, that is also comes under original investigation. And besides that, we have interventional studies, which we will not be covering here for now, but that those are interventional clinical trials. And in a review article, though the literature review is the type of the review article, but as I mentioned last time, you still have systematic review, survey studies, systematic review, meta-analysis with meta-regression, and there are so many different type which still consider under the umbrella of original research article. And then also in the second session we cover the full length of original investigation. When you're doing any study, you can present your original study in multiple ways. Number one way was full length article, which we discussed last time. Brief article we discussed little bit smaller than that. Then even though if you are super busy or that finding of the research is not that important, then you can still write a research later. It is still comes under original research article. Besides that, we also looked last time literature review and system difference between literature review and systematic reviews. So systematic reviews comes under original research article. In systematic reviews, there are some type of systematic reviews which we mentioned last time, including some of the surveys, some of the meta-analysis, meta-regression, and some of the case which you can collect through PubMed, and then you prepare the data and then you analyze that case reports. So it's the best way to convert your case report into the original article even. Also, when you are doing meta-analysis of observational study, as we mentioned last time, that consider under this systematic review and meta-analysis. And there are some protocols. We will study all those protocol and checklist later on in detail, but as I mentioned last time, we have Prisma protocol, Moose protocol. So when you use those protocols systematically, and then you follow that guideline, and then you write something under systematic review or meta-analysis, you do not require IRB or ethics committee, but you have to just make sure you just have to standardize, follow those instructions. Last time we also discussed about some of the non-original article like literature review, later to editor, correspondence, and those things. But most important part which you have to focus, which we discussed last time, but still I want to make sure again, you know, that some people are requesting that we have some case report, and is it a good thing that we can publish the case report or not? Answer is yes. But even though if it's extremely rare case report, you are having only one case, let's say, but PubMed, you will search, you will get many cases like that. So probably in your hospital it's a first case, in your city it's a first case, not in the world. So probably you can collect similar 10 to 15 or probably 100, but if you have 10 to 15 similar cases online available, then you can collect the data, not in the sense of data, but you can still collect the information in a tabular form, which we will teach you in detail later on. That table you can compare their diagnostic, their presentation, their diagnostic technique, and their treatment plan. So you can compare that with your case report and prepare a case report with a review. A simple case report with a review is also a very strong non-original research article. But I recommend that case report alone, or case series is okay, but case report alone is not that great valuable in the research field, except it will tell you that yeah, you know how to present the case. But if you have few number of cases available online, you can compare and pre-create a review with differential diagnosis and thing. So when we are writing literature review, as I mentioned last time, the paper, uh, in that type of paper, the tables are important. Most important part, how to write the table, we'll discuss that. And if you have 100 200 cases, if you are lucky and you're getting it, which we discussed last time, that if you have such cases, then you can pile up, collect the data, analyze that, and it will go in original article again. Okay, so today's session, we will be starting with the structure of the manuscript. It's called a basic fundamental thing you require in order to publish your work. One thing is to do the research, and one thing is to represent your work, right? If your research is excellent but your work is not in the form that it should be, then it will not get published, right? So here is a overall summary. I put it here, and then we'll take one by one later on. So how your prepared report should look like. Some of the people are in the right now in medical school, or they finish medical school and they already have their literature. They sometimes send me literature, and then they ask, is it good condition in pub, I mean, is it a good shape to publish? The topic is good, the hard work is excellent, but the shape of that particular paper is not good. If I'm not audible, you can type in the chat box, so I can notice that, and I can fix if it's internet issue or something is wrong. Okay, so manuscript structure is most important thing. And let's start how your manuscript, after doing research, how it should be piled up. Okay, let's start with the number one thing. First of all, you should know what is cover page and how the cover page should be written, because cover page is the same thing. When you are going for the job, you write a personal statement or a letter, that you know why I am interested, or what type of quality I am having it, and what you will achieve by hiring me. It's the same thing. Cover letter to editor of the journal, you are going to write, we will take all example later on, but you are going to take, you're going to write to the editor that what is the title of your study, what was the aim of your study, how your study is important, and how it will be important for the next generation scientists or researchers. So cover page is important thing. Second is the title page. Title page means the information of you, your authors, affiliation, and the detail about other other thing, like how many words you are having, how many tables are having. So we will discuss that everything in detail. But title page means it's a basic logistic of your manuscript. Okay, the third one is, everyone knows abstract and keyword. Abstract is the summary of 200 to 300 words of summary of your manuscript, and keyword must be there before even original research start. I mean, not original, but any research start. We'll see how abstract look like in various scenarios. Then you will have introduction of your project. Then you will have method, if method is required in original article. Then you have research, discussion, conclusion. After conclusion, you will have references, you will have tables, figure should be in TIFF, PDF, EPS, and JPG standard format. Most of the journal accept TIFF format, so you should have that in that form, and a supplementary material. and supplementary material. Now we will go through each and everything in detail, but even though you have a good quality of paper, you just have to make sure that this checklist, all checklists should be done when you complete your project. We are not discussing about how you will start your project and complete, but most of the students have project and they wish uh, to publish the work. So this is how you prepare your structure of the manuscript. It should look like that, because this session is basically on the introduction of the manuscript. That's why we are discussing this part, but in detail we'll talk everything in later on sessions. But when you are doing research, make sure research, when you are starting the research, these steps won't come into the way. This step won't come into the way. So starting the research, you always start your research work with number one, what is the aim of your study, right? Every time when you decide something, you wish to see the aim, or some people say the objective, or some people say the end point. Everything is same. So aim of the study. So my aim is to evaluate XYZ. My aim is to my objective of the study is to identify XYZ, right? So aim of the study, first of all, you will be deciding, or depend on the study, you will have primary aim, secondary aim, and probably tertiary aim. Primary aim, let's say if I want to see in the COVID patient how many death occurs, then primary aim to see the mortality, right? So that will be my primary aim. The secondary thing will be something else, and tertiary will be something else. So the primary and secondary aims are very important to define. But now when you are defining the aim, you must know the cohort, which cohort you are looking for. Cohort means on which type of population you wish to start your study. This everything we'll talk about when we are discussing observational studies, but I'm just giving you brief idea. So cohort is most important thing. You are choosing some particular type of patient or data, or some particular type of hospital, or some particular type of population, like you want to study heart disease in African American or in Hispanic. So those are the cohort you have to choose. You are doing study in adult or pediatric, that is the cohort. So you choose your cohort, and then only you can decide the aim properly. And then once you decide that, you collect the data, right? Usually in US there are two type of practices going on. One is you are going to collect the data actively uh, through hospitals, and the second one, you have different databases, you do agreement with them and they give you the data which is already collected. Or in your hospital there is IT team who will collect the data for you. You just have to provide them the list of variable and Excel sheet. I'll show you later on that how those variable you decide and how they will fill it up and give you back. You just have to tell them that this is the Excel sheet. You need their age, their race, their gender, their sex, their ethnicity, their comorbidity, etc, 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 from 2000 to 2018. So they will fill it up everything from that database and then they will give it to you. Okay, but basically then you collect the data. After you collect the data, then you will go with the analysis part, right? After you analysis part, until this everything is good. But what people are doing after doing analysis, people start writing result. No, I don't recommend that, to start writing result after analysis. I recommend to make proper table work, proper figures, so you can visualize the result. Doing research is important, like the way presenting research is also important, but visualization of your own research is also important. Sometime if the raw data, I'll show you how raw data will look like. Raw data is, it's extremely hectic to go through, and if you do not have your tables and your figures and everything ready, then your result will not be that strong. So if you want to make sure your results are strong, then I encourage you to prepare table and figure first and then go with the result work. Okay, once your tables and figures are done, then you write the result, and then you write the discussion part, introduction part, whatever is left behind, you can write those part. Once you write everything and conclusion, and then you start your submission process in this form. So this is the way how usually people execute their project. Okay, in short, it's very complicated, we'll come to that point, but in short, this is how it should work. Okay, now let's go back to how manuscript again, because it's a manuscript session, we'll be discussing everything about manuscript right now today. So manuscript structure, manuscript should be written in MS Word. It should not be written somewhere else or somewhere in your XYZ place. MS Word, it should be written. It should be written in a vertical place. It should be written in a vertical place. It should be written in a double space way. Every journal want, this is the standard guideline. Okay, some journal has their own guidelines. Some Asian journal want on A4 page, and American journal, those are not big deal. But important thing, it should be written in MS Word, vertical page, double space. It should be written with the Times New Roman, with the 12 font each side one inch of margin, 0.75 to 1 inch of margin should be there. And ideally I recommend each section should be on new page. When you are going to the Word, you will see there in a layout section there is a break option. You can use that option so that your manuscript, each section means introduction will be on new page, method will be on new page, result will be on new page, right? Now, so one document is your manuscript. So manuscript will have this format, but I encourage you, when you are writing your manuscript, the table work, if it is original studies table work, keep it separate, because tables are sometimes broad, so you can't use your vertical space, so you might need your horizontal pages, right? So you can keep the table in separate page, so that it will be easy for you. Now let's start with the first topic of discussion, which is cover letter. Okay, now cover letter, as I mentioned, that manuscript start, once your manuscript is finished, once your research is finished, then manuscript start with the cover letter. Okay, the cover letter must contain some of the information which I am writing here. Number one, manuscript title. Number one, of course it should be there, right? So manuscript title. Cover letter means if you just notice that we were talking in the beginning that you are writing a letter to the editor, that this is our research and please accept for the review, that later we are talking about right now first. Okay, so manuscript title, it will be having it. Then type of the article, whether it's a real article, it's a note, or whatever classification, original article, literature review, that detail should be there. You should mention that it is not a duplicated publication, so you did not submit to here and there and there and there, it's the only place you submit. Also, let's say COVID, people wants to make sure that their data or their research will not be utilized by someone else, so they, before they publish, from the publication submission to publish, it's 6 months, 4 months, 11-month hectic process, you never know. So they register on the pre-publication print server, pre-publication print server. So before it published, they give rights to someone, and they will give you right away that DOI number, digital object identification number. So now that is your pattern, your research is your pattern. And once some reputed journal will accept it, then you can transfer that rights from pre-publication preprint server to the journal. So you have to mention that detail. Also, few things you need to mention, for example, the statement that principal author is taking full responsibility of the data analyzed in interpretation, conduct of the research, etc., etc. So those statements are available online. You can copy and paste that statement, but those statements should be available, right? So you have to tell them that you have rights of data, and whenever you require data, they will require data or analysis, you will provide them. You also have to write that all authors and contributors are agree to submit to your place, so we do not have any internal conflict of interest, right? You also have to mention that that we have consent from all participant or whatever in form of, if you require IRB detail or IRB exemption, you need to write it, that if my study is exempted means I do not require IRB approval because this data is de-identified, is available online, is ready to sell by some XYZ company, or this is the hospital data, but we hide the identity of the patient, so IRB exempted. So those detail, if it is case report, then it's difficult to hide patient's identity, right? In that case, you have to also write it there that we have the consent from the patient to enroll in the study as well as to publish the report. Two consent are different. One, patient will be enrolling in your study, and second, he will or she will allow you to publish that finding. Okay, so cover letter is overall a brief one paragraph of thing that you will be writing to the editor. Usual cover letter will look like that. Look, I'm making it a little bigger. Okay, so here you can see the date, author's name, degree, department, institute, address. You are addressing to whomever you are writing it, and then you are writing that I'm submitting brief report. Then you are writing the topic's name, and then you are writing it's not published somewhere. Then you are writing what was in your study, how it will be helpful, and those things you will be writing with again your email and telephone number. Okay, so this kind of cover letter you prepare briefly. Okay, now first page of your manuscript, this will go separately. Okay, or sometime it will go as a first page, but doesn't matter. But first page of manuscript is your title page. Title page means what is the logistic of your study. Logistic means basically overall detail about word count and authors and their information. There is nothing new, but it is all required when it is accepted. Okay, so for example, title of the study. Okay, the second one is authors, individual authors and their affiliations. Okay, then corresponding authors detail, then conflict of interest. This part we will talk about later on actually, though it's a part of title page. Some journals wish to publish it in the beginning, or some wish to publish it later on, so we will cover it. So basically some people will say funding detail, acknowledgement, conflict of interest, those details should be in the back side. But why these details are important? Because if you do not have those details, they will send you manuscript back. They will send it to you back until you will not complete those details. All those details are available on author's page. When I was telling you in last session, let me show you. In this link we are having it, author's instruction, right? So there you will see all the instruction required depend on the journals, right? So those instruction you will carefully follow that. But because I don't want to go and read those hectic long, can you see instruction to author, and then let's say I'm going down, I'm publishing my original investigation, right? And I'm clicking here. So can you see here every information of original investigation is there, which guideline you need to make sure it's followed, and those all details are here, right? So basically those details are always there, but because you don't like to read in all the time everything, so basically see the reference how it should be arranged and everything. So basically to avoid that, you prepare a protocol that you strictly follow for yourself so that you can save a lot of time. So which contain first of all conflict of interest, then study funding, whether study has been funded or not, informed consent. We'll talk all in detail. So informed consent means, as I mentioned, that if it is patient involved, then whether patient give permission to publish and enroll or not. And if it is IRB involved, you have IRB approval, exemption, or no IRB requirement at all. So those things. Basically, when we talk about conflict of interest are certain type. means internally you author are agree to the one term, one platform, you all are on one platform, that is also considered as conflict of interest. Second, if I am taking money for publishing this particular project or this particular research, then it goes to the funding. But if I'm publishing something on XYZ disease, but I'm getting money from some other company on other project, so it will indirectly create the bias, right? So that in order to avoid that, I have to write in my conflict of interest that I'm having stocks in an investment in XYZ pharmaceutical company of this much of dollar. I'm running NIH grant with whatever. So those grant detail and those things which you are getting money in the research field, that you need to write. That is called conflict of sorry, that is again come under conflict of interest. Or second thing is disclosure. The another name is disclosure. Full name is called disclosure of conflict of interest, but everything is same. So you disclose kind of your research property indirectly. So that is something you need to write. Then data sharing. Data sharing, if they ask, then you need to tell them data is available, so you can bring it and use it from there. If you wish to provide them data, you can say I will provide upon request. If analysis they've asked, you can again write it. Now author statement. Now what is author statement? It's very interesting. People ask so many times to me that what is the good authorship number? Should I be the first author? Should I be the second author, last author, third author, fourth author? So I tell them the authorship order is least important for me. When the study published, first author is of course important, or first, second, third authors are important, and senior authors are important, because one are leaders, like young leaders, and one are the experienced people, indirectly I can say, who on whose level of education or name your manuscript will be published. Okay, so those are senior authors. But the other authors, when we talk about which authorship is good, my answer is that whatever authorship is there, we strictly look this thing, the author statement. Author statement means what work you did. So whether you conceptualize the idea, conceptualize means it is your idea or not, your role is in method, your role is data curation, means getting the data out, your role is writing the original draft, your role is visualization. I was telling about making the table and then visualize what could be the possible result and what could be the other relationship which we miss in making aim. So those roles: supervision, software, validation, reviewing and editing, and funding. So those are the different roles. So here is the thing, every manuscript published this, and here is the thing, we can judge the researcher by their work, what type of contribution they have given. Now if someone's name is here, let's say, write this part, writing original draft preparation, right? So that means he or she significantly contributed writing the main manuscript, either in introduction or method or result or whatever discussion. But this is most important type of authorship. This is most important type of authorship. So even though you're sixth author or seventh author, you can request if you did the work, and if someone will allow you to have your name as an original draft preparation, or you get chance to prepare original draft, that is great. And second most important role here, there will be several people, like 5, 10, 15 people could be there, depend on the size of the project. And second important role is also this part: methodology, conceptualization, data curation, and analysis part. So basically biostatistician, or sometime physician scientists who do biostatistic by themselves, those people are also very important, because they do their analysis by themselves, and then so they are basically having knowledge of mathematical skill as well as so statistical skill, as well as the medical field related skill, right? Healthcare related skill. Then acknowledgement, when you have a lot of authors or someone did very little work, you would like to acknowledge some company, your hospital, or whatever, whomever, your IT guy, editing people, you can write it in acknowledgement. Okay, then some of the important part depend on the size of the article. They want to make sure this section is there, how many words counts are there, how many tables, figures, whether you have supplemental file to publish online or not. Supplemental files are of two types. Supplemental, my result is so huge and I cannot put it. That will happen with you once you are doing your residency, postgraduate school or something. Your results are very complicated. In that case, you write a supplemental thing. You submit in e-supplemental thing that this part should not be available online, but it should be, sorry, not available in the print, in the paper print, but it should be available online. It's important. So it's called e-supplement. And some supplemental thing like conflict of interest and those document, you still need to submit them. The protocol like Prisma protocol we talk about, and other protocol we talk about, right? So those protocol you will be submitting them in a supplemental file. So that is title, title page. Now um, now from here your real writing of research will start. So what should what should be the title of your study? How you can design, write the title. Some people write very vague titles, like for example, let's start the most vague to most precise title. Let's start like that. For example, I'm writing, let's say, stroke and COVID. Now what should I understand? What is this? Stroke and COVID, whether it's pre-stroke, sorry, post-COVID stroke, or pre-existing stroke patient and having COVID. What should I understand here? Whether it is original article, case report, literature review, systematic review, how can I judge it? How can I judge it? So I always tell my student one thing. It's a like a Bumblebee and Tinder era, right? People, what they are doing it, they are watching the face, they are going right left, right left. So when you will be physician, you don't have time, and you have many articles every day, probably 100 articles in medicine are coming out, or in cardiology or in neurology coming out. What will you be doing it? You will get notification every single time, right? Our company itself is giving notification for updated research to physician, student, whomever they want. It's going to be left and right, you know so I like it, I don't like it, I like it, I don't like it. So in that case, like the way picture of that person is important, similarly exact value is for the title. So if your title is precise, it will be easy to decide whether your article should be at left or at right. Moral of the story is overall, okay, so it should be precise. It should be precise. So let's say this is most vague title, most vague. Still maybe little better, but still it's poor. Pre-existing cerebrovascular disease, pre-existing, so comorbidity, and COVID-19. Let's say still it's vague, right? I don't understand what this study will be telling me, right? So sometime even if it's important, I'll put it in left. I'll just discard it. Good title, let's say, the pre-existing cerebrovascular disorder and poor outcome of COVID-19 meta-analysis. Now, how many information are clear here? One, I'm talking about comorbidity, the patient who is already having stroke or CVD, cerebrovascular disorders. And second, I'm talking about COVID-19 patient with the poor outcome. So I'm trying to see the correlation between comorbidity of stroke and poor outcome of the COVID-19, and it will be meta-analysis. So this is called a good title. It's still not the best title. If it's the best title, I would write like something like that: pre-existing cerebrovascular disorder associated with the poor outcome or increasing the mortality among COVID-19 hospitalized patient, a meta-analysis. So how many things clear now? Pre-existing CVD associated with increased mortality. So I cover the outcome. Here it's hidden. Here it's hidden. But increase the mortality. So it's a second outcome. COVID-19 cohort. Name of the cohort. Hospitalized patients. So now I know that these are not mild and moderate patient. It's severe patient, hospitalized patient study. And this is meta-analysis. That is the best title. Okay. So be very careful choosing the title. And I always tell the students that, so title is the picture. That picture you swipe left and right. Then once you click, there is a small bio, right? So that bio is your abstract. Your abstract must be super powerful, super short, super powerful. 250 to 350 words are abstract containing, but it should be super powerful so that you feel that you wish to go for date. And then what you will be looking at? You will be looking at brain and heart. So your brain is the statistical work, method and analysis, and heart is the discussion work. So your discussion must be strong, statistic must be strong, and of course title and abstract. That is something which the standard manuscript should expect from a good researcher. Okay, now besides title, you have to figure out the keywords too. Keywords means stroke is a keyword, COVID is a keyword, cerebrovascular is a keyword, hospitalization is keyword. Keyword are two type of keyword probably. One is the simple keyword, and one is the mesh keyword, medical terminology keyword. Only difference is that it is a standard terminology which is given to these people. So that mesh keyword is something which we prefer to use, but it's not necessary that you need to use it. You can use it probably simple keyword too. There is no big deal, but just we try to recommend to use mesh keyword. You can Google this terminology, so you will have idea about that. Now here we don't have to talk much about. We talk about already authorship. Authorship is like something how you decide the authorship, whether it should be the first author. First author is the leading author who conceive the idea, who coordinate between the team member, who make bridge between senior author and other team member, who write the draft, keeping the timeline in the mind. Okay, who write the draft, keeping the timeline in the mind, who majorly contribute to the first draft, who coordinate with the senior author with the revision of the draft, who submit the draft. Okay, and after that many time rejection will come, and then you have to respond to the reviewer. Everything is the person who's handling those things. So that is the first author. So when you are talking about first author, this should be a role of ideal first author. Last author is the person who track record of the thing, who is having very good tenure track of research. Basically he is having a good interpretation skill, analysis thing, and he can understand. Basically he's not going to write everything you are going to write, but make sure that he is the person whose name is the thing which will help you to get acceptance and make your manuscript or make your research reader friendly and scientifically sound. Okay, it should be reader friendly, very easily written and understandable, and scientifically very strong and sound. Okay, though I wrote it that he should be well renowned, very well published author, so that you don't have to worry about. Just kidding, but yes, that is also the truth sometimes. Okay, when you are going for higher level of journals. And then we talk about those author statement. It's a credit taxonomy. We call it credit taxonomy. Credit taxonomy means who contributed in conceptualization, who contributed in curation, who contributed in visualization or software or supervision or editing. Those things are considered as a credit taxonomy. And now let me take you to the website, how it will look like. Every journal has their own taxonomy thing, but it's an international committee for medical journal editor association. So they have this standard list where this many different type of roles are there: who conceptualize the idea, who write the methodology, software validation, formal analysis, investigation, resources, curation, original draft, editing. So this every single thing goes to some person, right? So that type of authorship exists. So you do not have to usually disappoint that, okay, this is the authorship and this is how I was the seventh author or eighth author. Authorship number won't matter. What work you did, that matter. Even though sometime it happened that if you are working in a huge big group and your number will be little later, then request them to put you in a proper proper place. Okay, and now as we discuss everything about basics about research, now let's start with the major topic which is important. It's the abstract. So now you know how the title should look like, you know how the structure should look like, you know now how your study should be planned. But now once you prepare your study, you need to make sure, as I mentioned that in that dating thing, that bio is most important, the same way your abstract is the most important part after they like your title, right? So if someone like your title is legitimate and now decided to tap on your picture, then they will read this abstract, right? So this abstract, there are two different type of abstract which we will talk about in the future session. But one is the most important structure abstract, and one is that is for the original article. So when you're writing the original article, it should be a structured abstract. And one is the non-structured abstract for literature review. And as you know the different type of original article, so all those type of original article deserve structured abstract. We'll cover how it look like. And then literature review is having non-structured abstract. Now structured abstract for the original article usually is like between 250 to 300 word. As I mentioned, the name structure, so it is having a structure of introduction, aims and objective, which we discussed, that primary aim and secondary aim. If you are having less word count, then you can just write the primary aim, but aim and objective must be there. Methodology, result section, and conclusion. Okay, no discussion at all. We will discuss in detail that how and which points are there to cover in method. Most of the people here we are having it, they are basically either resident or applying for residency, so they know about CS exam. So you know, you knock the door and you get the point, you introduce yourself, you get the point. So when we are reviewing the manuscript or reviewing the abstract for the conference or for the manuscript, we make sure that you cover those points, that aim must be having primary secondary aim, method must have 5 points, which we talked last time, and we will be talking in detail later on, that what 5 points must be there in method of the abstract, similarly the result, similarly the conclusion. Non-structured abstract for literature review is the vague. You just write your aim of your study and directly write the discussion part, like 5-6 line or 7 line, and then you jump to the conclusion. It's not that properly formatted thing. So it's depend on how and what way you wish to present. Okay, now important thing is that in structure abstract also there are two type of structure abstract. The standard structured abstract are accepted everywhere. As we mentioned that international standard journals guideline, those people are accepting this thing where you have introduction, aim, objective, method, result, and conclusion. And let me show you the example of standard, so you will have more idea about non-standard if you know the standard first. So standard abstract will look like just hold on. I'll just open in my. Okay, we are having it. So standard structure abstract, we are having like this way: introduction we have, method we have, result have, discussion and conclusion. But when you are submitting and aiming for particular specific journal, some high top-notch journals like JAMA and EJM, they want specific abstract format, though it's a structure, but it's a specific format. In that way, sorry, in that journal, they are asking this is the this is the protocol they are asking for. What is the importance of your study? What was the objective is basically the aim of your study, right? What design you are using, whether you are using retrospective, prospective, as we discussed many type of design in first session, those design. Then they will ask you in which setting the study has been done, multi-center, one center, or there are different type of things that we will talk about in detail. What are the participant, whether it's a stroke, non-stroke patient, angina, non-angina patient. So participants type, as we mentioned in the beginning, cohort, right? So choosing the cohort. So those are the cohort. Which cohort you are doing your research. Interventions, if you have done interventions. So let's say ventilation utilization we talk about in COVID, right? So ventilation utilization occurred or not occurred compared to the poor outcome, right? So in observational studies, we compare the exposure, means risk factor is there or risk factor is not there. Then we talk about, now we come to the outcome, which is here. Outcome we talk about, right? Mortality is one outcome. We'll talk about different type of outcomes. So what outcome we choose, so that is one of the outcome. Mortality, maybe disability, maybe needs of ventilation, maybe something else. So those things we will write in the main outcome. Then result, then conclusion, one line, and most important thing, relevance. Relevance means which information is already there about that particular part, that particular thing. What study you did it to fill the gap between current information and current practice, and now your study, how it will provide or nurture the next generation study. That is also important. So that is relevance. Relevance means future directive, or I can say even take home message, but in a kind of more in a future point of view. Okay, so let me give you now, show you the example of that, so you will have idea about how structured research look like. Here we have in instruction, as I mentioned here, structure abstract. So this is JAMA, and this is what they want. They want you in 2 line to explain the importance of the research. They want you to write objective in 1 or 2 line, maximum one line or 2 line. They want to write the design, whether it's a randomized or cohort or case control or whatever. Very this, because they don't allow you to write more than 200 words, so everything will be very brief of a line or two, right? The setting, as we mentioned, which setting it occur, whether it's a multi-center, whether it's a referral center, whatever center, the setting it was there, you have to mention. The participants criteria, so what type of participant you choose African American, Hispanic, adult, pediatric, what was the eligibility criteria, whatever you choose, you write it here. So it's a kind of method, but they don't want haphazard method. You remember I was telling you the point wise method. So this is what they divided into point automatically. So this is what they want. They want it, some people also want that intervention occurred or not, main outcome occur or not, and result. So this is also the way you can write. So this is overall idea about abstract. And the key point or highlights which we already discussed. The key point is take home message. Take home message could be 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 5 line. Ideally it should be 5 to 6 line, and it's good if it is 6 line of take home message. It's a brief take home message, but sometime some people are very specific, like I mentioned, JAMA and EJM Lancet, very specific. Take home message must be in a 3 form. Ask the question whether COVID-19 increase the risk of mortality among smoker, question mark. 1 line. Finding, yes, it increased by 2.5 odds if it is in your study. finding 1 or 2 line, meaning you should evaluate more studies, or more studies should be done to see or adjust those risk factor, and how you can create the awareness. So that is the meaning. For example, we just take one random example. So some journal ask like that format, some journal ask evidence before study, added values because of this study, and implication available, I mean implication of all available evidences. So this is all about abstract, how you are going to write the abstract, how your abstract should look like, because we are studying the basics of writing manuscript. So this is, we reach to the abstract, and now from introduction probably we'll start in the next session.